symbiology of how royalty were built itself. They had to breed with black people in order to have what we call strong genes.
So the British royal family essentially has got melanated blood in them, and you're arguing, from what you've said, you're arguing because they have melanin and they come from outside the galaxy, they merged with the people that you said reached the highest level of knowledge, which included violence, which we didn't have anymore. And that breeding of the black melanin and these people, these white people, what we call white Europeans, that creates a higher type of human being. Is that
it creates a different species.
Not a higher form.
Not higher form, a different species. Strong genes. It's just white people don't have strong genes. I'm not being racist. Let no one take me as if I'm racist, but let's be factual about it. White people cannot survive slavery. Not at all. We live under slavery and these harsh conditions, and we still can smile and be happy. White people cannot do that. There's a doctor in America who make an experience. And then this doctor said, I will take a mile of all you, my white kids, and you need to live like black people. They couldn't survive it because they don't have genes like that. They don't have such power or strength. You have such a strength that you can live under a persecution and still smile.
What is the highest level of human being in the modern context? Should I be breeding with darker skinned women?
Since we're talking about the breeding part, I wouldn't mind breeding with darker women because they have strong genes.
As long as they're educated maybe by the Europeans who are comfortable with violence?
People are educated by Europeans, all of them. All of us, even me, I'm talking English language, though I've never been in school. So it's a form of communication. It doesn't matter if a person, they are educated by Europeans, so long they can give you better stock.
I would like to understand the artifacts, I'll call it that, or omunye umuntu mhlawumbe ngesiloko should call it induku. But for me, it looks familiar to some of the pieces that the great Coco Credo Motor used to carry.
Oh, the artifacts is done eventually by grandson of Baba Credo Motor.
Okay.
Yeah, he has done it for me as a gift. And then it has symbiologies that are family related, meaning Zulu symbiologies. That is why here this guy has Imikabo, as you all know. And then here we have a Swatika, the unconquered son. Yeah, the unconquered son. So this is an artifact that he does, like art. He does art. He's to art. But now he put this cloth that is from Baba Credo Muta's garment in order to give me, the way he said it, that angifuna ube namandla ntwana yami yabona ukuthi mohamba, that's what he said. So he gave it to me like, as a gift. He made it for me. I did go to him several times and he told me that, no, I'm going to do a scepter for you so that you can carry it, that people may know about your knowledge system. And when they ask you about Umkulu Baba Credo Muto, you can show them this scepter because you are carrying the essence of Baba Credo Muto, the cloth, which means it's from the garment that he used to wear.
Because I can see the similarities with some of the big sculptures that he personally built himself when he was still alive.
That is why it's a four faces.
At the Credo Muto village.
It's a four faces, meaning the four constellational. The four corners of the universe, the four corners of galaxies, the four corners of everything. The four corners are the balance of the cross. That is why we have a cross symbol, meaning the four corners. That is why Jesus Christ was crucified in the cross. He's the sun that is always crucified by the four corners of the universe. Like the way the sun is coming back now, according to the springtime, it was crucified during the winter. That is why we had the coldness, the darkness, and the sourness, and the dryness of things.
I think it brings a conversation to the season that we are entering now.
Yes.
We're going to Inzalo Elanga with Umkunzingiz, and the conversation there has been around the African calendar, as they would call it, and from September being the season of, as they would call it, the African New Year. Your understanding?
I will tell you one thing, that there's no such a thing as African calendar. Sorry if I may maybe offend anybody, but I would like to speak the truth. There's several calendars Egypt Kemet has created, and then these several calendars have different ushering of movement. There's a Cyrus calendar, there's a Venus calendar, there's a Jupiter calendar, there's all these forms of movement that the astrologers calculated, and they were called the hour priest. So these hour priests who could identify movements in the skies and then made calendars through this movement. That is why we have a constellational calendar, also known as the zodiac. So there's no such a thing as African calendar, but there's such a thing as keeping up with the time that you are in. And then keeping up with the time that you are in, you get to relate with the nature and keep timing with the nature that is in. That is why in Africa, in the southern hemisphere, we have the spring that we have it, that we are going to approach. It's the southern hemisphere. In the northern hemisphere, they had their spring during March. You know, that is why the Jewish calendar started during March, because it started during the spring of the Jews in the northern hemisphere. So everything, it has its own accuracy. Like people who are at the sites like Northern East or North Depth, they will get different calendars. Like the Halloween that is happening during the 2nd of November. It's summer day, meaning it's the inception of the summer or the end of the summer. That is why it's the end of the summer. That is why they have a celebration of the dead. And that celebration of the dead is called Mudosa Dosa, or the Day of the Dead. You know, we all know about it, we celebrate it. But that Halloween, we never knew that Halloween means it's the end of the summer. They are approaching a winter season. That is why it has scary tactics, trick or treat or trick or treat, because they believe that spirits descend from wherever they are. So you need to trick or take a treat. So either you give these children sweets, or you get treat.
I want to ask, you remind me of Dr. Sebi, who never went to school. You mentioned that you didn't go to school.
Yes, sir.
How practical is it to get to your level of knowledge without the English language? Or let me put it more bluntly, is it possible to get to your level of knowledge with only an indigenous language such as isiZulu, Xhosa,
Yes.
Sepedi as an example? And number two, how do other people that desire to get to your level of knowledge, how do they do that? Are there books they read? Is there a journey they can go through?
I'll just tell them a simple thing. Since everybody is talking about secrecy, I'll just tell them that go and knock somewhere. Maybe they can give you a door to come in so you can get something. That's how they can reach. They need to knock somewhere. And knocking somewhere, you need to go and make maybe a 3-time knock to the Freemasonry or the Secret Society or the Sangomas, I don't know. But at the end of the day, if they want that, they need to work hard for it.
How do we get to your level of knowledge outside of the language of English?
You work hard for it. You knock. You go and knock in the Sangomas.
As a Zulu person, can I speak about the Greeks? Can I speak about the stars? Can I speak about the science? You speak of the maths?
Penuel, God, let me tell you, you call yourself God.
I am God, yes.
Yes. I used to be called God. That's something I grew up with. But let me tell you something, God. When someone wants to know something, they've already known it. Baba Credo Muta said, when you want to know, you reach to the 2 silverfish and go and ask them anything. Our ancestors knew that when they wanted to know something, they go to the river, the ever-going river, also known as the waters of infinity, and go and ask these 2 silverfish a question. And then these 2 silverfish will give you answers of everything around you. So you need to meet these 2 silverfishes to reach me. I have met them. I always talk with them.
These are real fish.
Yes, sir.
Where?
It's in symbiology system. It's just you wouldn't understand it until you are initiated.
It is not a state of mind. It is a real.
Okay, let's put it simple in the way a white person says. A white person says we need to reached the deep eternity of ourselves, and we need to open our spinal cord so that the energy flow can flow in a 33rd positional flows, and then through that flow it can have 144,000 influence in our psyche. So it's the same thing the Bible says, that the 144,000, they were the ones who were chosen to be the elected ones who are holy in the heaven of God, where there's 12 gates, 3 from different position of 4 corners, meaning 3 from the other side, 3 from the other side, 3 from north, east, west, and south.
Is there a chance that you are a chosen person? It seems like Ukoko Credo Mutwa was chosen. It seems like a lot of children, a lot of young people, even adults that we try to speak to, absolutely refuse to listen to these types of conversations. Is there a chance that you are chosen and that you can only be chosen to have the type of curious mind?
No, I'm not chosen, sir. I'm not a chosen one. I was just born like everybody, and I'm privileged that my grandfather taught me a lot, and I was initiated in secrecy of the secret, and it's an African traditional initiation, not Freemasonry, not nothing. The same way Baba Credo was initiated, just I don't want to divulge it and talk about who take me and what happened, but I was initiated. At the age of 3 years, I disappeared, and I was initiated at the age of 21, and I was initiated even at the age of 30.
Why must people, black people, learn what you know? And how does it help us win in this world that we live in? Because it feels like we are losing. It feels like we are still oppressed. It feels like we are poor. It feels like we are broken. What is the purpose of learning all this knowledge that you have, and how does it impact the lived, what we call a lived reality in this world?
We learn this knowledge so that we can rebuild something new. Egypt was built through the knowledge that I'm talking about, that we are all interested in. This knowledge, it's a builder of forms. It can create. You can create different things. I was explaining to some other Sangoma that we need to interfere, we need to infiltrate hospitals. We need to infiltrate places where Sangoma have these tools. The Sangoma study about medicine. And medicine is something that people are curious about and concerned. And we are struck about with viruses that can be cured. And we are told about viruses that make us to isolate ourselves. So we need such knowledge system in order to come out from this evolutionary progress or process, or the time that we are in of viruses. Because we are experiencing these viruses because of our evolutionary mind and thinking. And the people who are in charge of these minds, they are less informed. I know that people will talk about Britain being in charge or America. They are less informed, trust me. They are learning from us. The CIA sent a lot of investigators in South Africa so that they can learn from Sangoma's secrecy of things that can help South America. America has made a research on psychology, on traumatical experiences that they've never learned about, such as being possessed by the spirit, such as having paranormal activities. So they come here in South Africa to come and learn that within the Sangomas. I've met a lot of them. It's just I'm not a CIA and I'm not going to expose them. But I have met a lot of them who are making a research for Washington, D.C.
Till today?
Yes. They are studying us. We are a study.
This is an unfair question because I don't even know if you can give me an answer. Is there a chance that all the knowledge that you have is incorrect?
Yeah.
And that might be the reason why I'm speaking for you and on behalf of all black melanated people.
No.
Is there a chance that the information that have been passed on by Mkuluako and other people is incorrect, and that's why we're missing it, number one? And number two, should we be taking on learning violence, which you say we don't have?
You know, my knowledge is not correct. It's not incorrect. It's just knowledge. It's just I know. I'm just the empty vessel that has welcomed everything, whether it's new or old. Meaning I'm empty. I don't know anything. So I wouldn't say it's correct, nor incorrect. So it's just knowledge. And it's proven by a factual experiment That is why we say it's scientific knowledge, because of proven data. So in learning, people can learn it, and they can try by all means to use the same systems as white people. Let me tell you something. I was talking with a vet student before they make what we call fees must fall protest. I told them that in order to have this protest, you're going to have a powerful influence. But now this influence is going to be dull and useless. In 3 years after to come, you'll be nothing and you'll never be known. You can call yourself fallist, but you'll be already the fallen one because you are not an influence. But try by all means to change the law. You'll be known generation to generation to come, because you have already changed what influenced our life. Don't tell me about paying a fees, but if we are changing a law, don't you think we'll have a law that says a poor child must come and learn without paying fees? But with a law that is influencing now, you cannot change anything. You can protest for whatever you protest for, but so long you attack the law, you can change everything.